Melissa owed $62,400. Not to a bank she never met, not to a stranger. 23 credit cards, and to her own silence. Every month she paid. Every month the number barely moved. Every month she bought something new she didn't need. Shoes still in boxes. Kitchen gadgets unopened. Clothes with tags hanging like quiet accusations. From the outside, she looked put together. Neat hair, clean car, always something new. Inside, she couldn't sleep past 3:17 a.m. That's when the fear showed up. Then one night, something small happened. Something old. Something almost ridiculous. A rule. 7 days. No impulse. Just wait. It sounded stupid. It sounded outdated. It sounded impossible. But what happened next? No one saw coming. If you value stories like this video and subscribe to the Wealth Fables. Comment below what state or city you're watching from. Now let's get into the full story. In 2024, on the industrial edge of Columbus, Ohio, Melissa Carter was 41 years old and tired in a way sleep couldn't fix. She worked as a warehouse shift supervisor for a regional shipping company. 10 years on the job. Steel-toe boots. Early mornings that started before sunrise when conveyor belts hummed louder than conversation. She earned $4,200 a month before taxes. Not rich, not poor. Just surviving. Her apartment sat on the 3rd floor of a beige complex near the freeway. From the outside, it looked decent. Inside, it looked full. Too full. Boxers stacked in corners. A hallway closet that barely closed. A kitchen drawer that refused to shut because of unused gadgets crammed inside. Have you ever opened a drawer and felt judged by your own purchases? Melissa lived alone. Divorced 5 years earlier. No kids, no pets, just quiet. After the divorce, something shifted in her evenings. The silence felt heavier. The rooms felt larger. So she filled them. At first, it was practical. A better mattress, new cookware, a sectional couch she put on a payment plan because she told herself she deserved comfort. But slowly, the purchases became smaller, easier. A $129 air fryer, even though she already owned one in another brand. $240 boots because they were on sale. $78 throw pillows to refresh the vibe. The packages became routine. Delivery drivers knew her building number without checking twice. The moment before opening a box brought a rush of excitement. The moment after brought relief. The day after brought nothing. Then the credit card statements arrived. 3 cards. Card 1 carried $18,700. Card 2 held $21,400. Card 3 sat at $22,300. Total, $62,400. She didn't tell anyone. At work, she was the responsible one. The one who stayed late. The one who reminded others about safety protocols and double-checked inventory sheets. At church on Sundays, she smiled, held her coffee cup, and told people she was doing good. But every month, after rent, utilities, gas, groceries, and minimum payments, she had less than $600 left. And somehow, it always disappeared. One Tuesday afternoon, during inventory week, her coworker Jason showed her got it on sale, he said. Couldn't pass it up. That night, Melissa ordered one too. Did she need it? No. Did it make her feel behind if she didn't have it? Yes, that was the pattern. Stress led to scrolling. Loneliness led to scrolling. Boredom led to scrolling. And scrolling led to buying. Have you ever noticed how buying feels like control? 5 years earlier, when she received her first credit limit increase, she felt powerful. You've been approved for $15,000. The email said, approved, recognized, trusted. She didn't fully understand how interest worked. She only knew the minimum payment looked manageable. $410, $530, $490. She paid them every month, but the balance barely moved. She avoided looking at the full statements and focused only on the minimum due. One night in March, after another restless 3:17 a.m. wake-up, she walked into the kitchen for water. The counter was cluttered with subscription boxes, an unopened blender, and a stack of unopened mail. She stared at it longer than usual. Something inside her felt tired. Not dramatic, not desperate, just tired. That weekend, her older neighbor Mrs. Delaney knocked on her door. She was moving into assisted living and needed help carrying boxes downstairs. Melissa agreed. Mrs. Delaney's apartment was the opposite of hers. Simple, organized, quiet, no clutter, no excess. While packing a small wooden desk, Melissa found a thin yellow notepad tucked inside a drawer. Handwritten lists filled the pages. Mrs. Delaney laughed softly when she saw it. "Oh, that old thing," she said. "That's what kept me out of trouble." Melissa flipped to the first page. At the top, written in careful blue ink, were 3 simple words. The 7-day rule. It sounded old-fashioned, outdated, almost naive. But she kept reading, and something about those pages felt steady, grounded, different from everything she had been doing. The first time Melissa tried the rule, it felt childish. 7 days, for something small. On Monday morning, during her break at work, she opened her phone and saw an ad for a leather tote bag. Structured, professional, limited stock, $189. Her heart sped up. It looked like stability, like promotion energy, like the kind of woman who had her life together. She almost tapped by now. Instead, she opened the Notes app and typed, Day 1 brown leather tote, $189. That was it. No purchase. The rest of the day, the bag lived in her head. What if it sold out? What if the sale ended? What if this was the one thing that finally made her feel organized? Have you ever noticed how urgency is louder than logic? Day 2. She checked the website again. Still available. Still beautiful. Still calling her. Day 3. She added it to cart. Didn't check out. Day 4. She felt annoyed. Why am I torturing myself? It's just $189. But she didn't buy it. By day 7. Something strange happened. She didn't want it as much. The excitement had faded. The image of herself carrying it had lost its glow. On day 8, she deleted the note. She felt lighter. That week, she wrote down 9 things. Running shoes, $140. Meal subscription box, $1.96. Kitchen storage containers, $62. Bluetooth speaker, $120. By the end of 7 days, she only bought one item. Replacement work gloves she actually needed. Total, not spent, $607. For the first time in years, she reached the end of the week without a new package at her door. But the real conflict wasn't the purchases, it was the feelings. On Friday night, alone in her apartment, the silence felt louder than usual. Normally, she would scroll and order something small. A candle, a book, something to look forward to. Now she just sat there, uncomfortable. Urge to buy wasn't about the item, that it was about escape. That realization unsettled her. The second week was harder. Her coworker Jason came in with new wireless earbuds. Another sale. Another couldn't pass it up. Melissa felt the familiar itch, that subtle fear of being left behind. That night, she almost broke. She added the earbuds to her cart, then a jacket, then a set of glass food containers, total $312. Her finger hovered over the screen. Instead, she grabbed a notebook from her kitchen drawer and wrote everything down. Day 1. She closed the laptop, but she didn't feel proud. She felt deprived. Have you ever tried to change and felt like you were losing something? By day 3, she was irritable. Small things at work annoyed her. The warehouse noise felt sharper. She snapped at a team member for mislabeling a pallet. It wasn't about the pallet, it was withdrawal. Her brain was used to small dopamine hits delivered in cardboard boxes. Now there were none. On day 5, an email arrived, exclusive offer, 48 hours only. Her chest tightened. She opened the message. Flash sale, up to 60% off. This is when she always folded. She walked to her closet instead, opened it fully, counted 17 pairs of shoes, 9 jackets, 3 handbags she barely used. She sat on the floor. How did I get here? That night, she finally opened her full credit card statements instead of just checking the minimum payment. Card 1. Minimum, $520. Interest charged, $487. Card 2. Minimum, $610. Interest charged, $566. Card 3. Minimum, $580. Interest charged, $542. She had been paying hundreds every month just to stand still. Her stomach dropped. For years, she believed she was being responsible because she never missed a payment. But she wasn't moving forward. She was treading water. And the current was strong. Third week brought something worse. Her car wouldn't start after work. Battery dead. Replacement cost, $780. She checked her bank account, $412. Available. Her credit cards were nearly maxed out. For the first time in years, she couldn't swipe her way out of a problem. Had to call her younger sister. I'll pay you back, she said quietly. The silence on the other end hurt more than the battery bill. Driving home that night, something shifted. The 7-day rule wasn't about saving money, it was about facing herself, facing the boredom, the loneliness, the comparison, the insecurity. Every time she didn't buy, she had to sit with the feeling instead, and that was harder than any minimum payment. But she kept writing. Day 1, day 3, day 7. Some items lost their shine. Some still tempted her, but the distance between impulse and action was growing, and in that distance, clarity was starting to breathe. By the end of the 3rd week, the 7-day rule was no longer just a technique. It had become something deeper, something that tugged at the roots of why Melissa bought things in the first place. She realized that before, every purchase wasn't about what she was buying, it was about what she was trying to escape. Stress, loneliness, boredom, comparison. These emotions had been quietly driving her card balances upward for years. As she sat on her couch one quiet evening, notebook open, she looked back at all the things she had written down but never bought, and she felt a strange mix of regret, relief, and insight. She saw that for every impulse purchase she had resisted, she had saved a small piece of herself, a small reclaiming of her emotional autonomy. The rule had forced her to sit with her feelings, to name them, to confront them rather than drown them in packages at her door. For the first time, she wasn't just resisting a purchase. She was resisting a pattern that had shaped her adult life. The financial transformation was real, but the emotional one was deeper. Instead of buying to chase relief, she began printing out her credit card statements and staring at the balances with honest curiosity instead of fear. The numbers stopped being abstract. They became real obstacles she wanted to remove, not just something to shrug off with a quick payment. On the fourth week, she made a decision that finally felt like a turning point. Instead of paying the minimum on all 3 cards as she always had, she gathered all the money she had saved through the rule, the money she would have wasted on impulse buys, and threw it at the smallest balance first. Card 3, the one with the $22,300 balance, saw an extra $5,200 that month. When she saw the new balance drop below $17,000, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. Control, not denial, not sacrifice, control. And it wasn't a fleeting triumph. It was a new way of being. That changed. The shift from impulse to intention rippled through every aspect of her life. She began waking up with less anxiety, sleeping without the weight of secret regret. She stopped scrolling aimlessly at night because she no longer felt compelled to fill silence with imagined fulfillment. When coworkers invited her out to shop just for fun, she said no without self-recrimination, not to punish herself but to honor the new clarity she was cultivating. The moments that once would have triggered a purchase no longer had power over her emotional state. A day off no longer meant a shopping sprint. A stressful shift no longer meant an online order. Instead, she walked, read books she already owned, called her sister, cooked meals that nourished rather than distracted. The emotional transformation wasn't advertised. It was quiet, subtle, and deeply rooted. It was the understanding that the urge to buy had always been a symptom, not the problem. By the 5th week, something unexpected happened. Melissa found herself able to look at an advertisement without that tightening in her chest. A smartwatch popped up on her screen again, but this time she didn't open the cart. She didn't feel the urgency. She felt calm. It was as if the 7-day rule had rewired her relationship with desire itself. What once had been an itch that needed immediate scratching had become a signal to pause, reflect, and choose, not react. In this pause, she found clarity, and in that clarity, she found peace. Her emotions weren't soothed by purchases anymore because she had finally learned how to soothe them through awareness, reflection, and patience. And that truth that discipline is what builds freedom, not consumption, became the moral turn that began to unravel years of unconscious behavior and reshape her life from the inside out. 6 months after Melissa first wrote day 1, brown leather tote $189 in that simple notebook. Her life didn't look dramatically different from the outside, but internally, everything had shifted. She still woke up before sunrise. She still drove the same car. She still worked long shifts at the warehouse, steel-toe boots echoing across concrete floors. But the quiet panic that used to sit in her chest every morning had softened. It wasn't gone yet, but it was shrinking. And for the first time in years, the numbers were finally moving in the right direction. By month 3, she had completely paid off card 3, the smallest balance, the one that once felt impossible. The day she made the final payment, she didn't celebrate publicly. She didn't post about it. She didn't tell coworkers. She sat alone at her kitchen table, logged into the account, and stared at the $0 balance. Then she cut the card in half with a pair of kitchen scissors and dropped it into the trash. The sound was small, but to her, it felt like thunder. 1 chain removed, 2 left. Instead of using the freed-up minimum payment for spending, she rolled it into the next card. Month 4, then month 5. Aggressive, focused, intentional payments. The money that once disappeared into impulse buys was now attacking principal balances. She stopped paying hundreds in interest just to stand still. Now, the balance dropped visibly every month. $21,400 became $14,000. $14,000 became $8,600. She tracked it in the same notebook where she once wrote down temptations. Only now, the pages were filled with progress. Her coworkers noticed something before she did. "You seem calmer," Jason said one afternoon while scanning inventory. She shrugged it off, but she knew it was true. She wasn't checking her phone for flash sales anymore. She wasn't distracted by delivery notifications. When conversations turned to purchases, new gadgets, new clothes, weekend shopping trips, she listened without feeling behind. The comparison had lost its grip. She had something better than a new item. She had momentum. By month 8, card 2 was gone. Another quiet payment, another pair of scissors, another $0 balance. She sat back in her chair that night and did something she hadn't done in years. She breathed deeply without calculating anything in her head. No minimums, no due dates racing toward her, just space. The final card took longer. It had been the first one she opened years ago, the one that started everything. There was something poetic about ending with it. Month 9, month 10, month 11. Each payment carved the balance down. She sold items she never used. The extra blender, the untouched handbags, the duplicate electronics. Marketplace meets in grocery store parking lots became small acts of redemption. Every dollar went to the debt. Then, one quiet Tuesday evening in late October, she made the last payment. $0. $62,400 gone. Not erased by luck. Not forgiven. Not transferred. Paid. She didn't cry immediately. She just sat there. The apartment felt different, not because anything new was added, but because nothing was owed. The space felt honest, clean, earned. 3 months later, something even more unfamiliar appeared in her life. Savings. The same discipline that attacked debt now built protection. The money that once chased impulse now built stability. $3,000, then $7,500, then $12,000 for the first time in her adult life. An emergency wouldn't require a phone call to her sister. When her car needed new tires that winter, she paid in cash. No anxiety, no shame, no quiet humiliation. Her sister noticed too. "You sound different," she said during a Sunday call. Melissa smiled. "I am." Even Mrs. Delaney, now settled into assisted living, listened carefully when Melissa visited and shared the update. The older woman squeezed her hand and simply said, "Peace is expensive if you don't build it slowly." A year and a half after finding that notepad, Melissa still used the 7-day rule, but she rarely needed the full 7 days anymore. The pause had become instinct. She would see something, feel the old spark of desire, and automatically ask, "Do I need this? Or do I need relief?" Most of the time, the answer was clear. Her apartment no longer felt crowded, not because she became minimal, but because she became intentional. Every item had purpose. Every dollar had direction. At 43, she wasn't wealthier than her coworkers on paper. She didn't earn more. She didn't win anything. But she owned her paycheck. She owned her choices. She owned her peace, and that quiet ownership, built from 7-day pauses, repeated hundreds of times, changed everything. Melissa didn't change jobs. She didn't move to a bigger city. She didn't double her income or discover some secret investment strategy. From the outside, her life looked almost the same. Same warehouse, same apartment, same routine. But inside, something fundamental had shifted. She no longer lived in reaction. She lived in decision. The 7-day rule didn't make her rich. It made her aware. It placed space between emotion and action. And in that space, her future slowly rebuilt itself. The truth is, Melissa's problem was never her salary. It was the silent habit of soothing discomfort with spending. Every impulse purchase had been a temporary escape from stress, loneliness, comparison, or the debt wasn't created in stores. It was created in unexamined emotions. And that's what the pause interrupted. 7 days may sound small, almost insignificant, but repeated over months, that pause became discipline. Discipline became clarity. Clarity became confidence. And confidence became freedom. No miracle happened. No one rescued her. There was no lottery, no inheritance, no sudden promotion. Just quiet, consistent decisions made when no one was watching. That's how most real transformations happen, slowly, privately, without applause. If you're carrying debt right now, if your closet is full but your account feels empty, if you've ever bought something hoping it would fix a feeling, you're not broken. You're human. But small pauses create powerful consequences. And powerful consequences, over time, rewrite lives. Melissa learned that peace isn't purchased. It's practiced. One decision at a time. One resisted impulse at a time. One honest look at a statement at a time. If this story resonated with you, like this video and subscribe to the Wealth Fables. Comment below what state or city you're watching from. And if you're ready, stay and watch another story, because sometimes the change you're looking for begins with something as small as waiting 7 days.